The Dodgers have turned the NL West into a boat race, and it's a beautiful day for a sail. But an LA Times Dodgers columnist gets his widow feelings hurt along the way. And a former Olympic silver medalist gets attacked, allegedly by a homeless guy in the streets of LA. Hi, I'm James. This is your daily dose of sports and snark for the greatest sports city in the world, Los Angeles. This is Faithful Angelenos. It is July 11th, 2022. It is actually a gorgeous day. Can't wait to share it with the wife. But let's talk a little sports first. If you like the content we've been putting out about LA, feel free to clickety-clack the like button. Clickety-clack the subscribe button. There's a notifications bell. Hit that. We put out new videos usually between 9 and 10 a.m. every day to let you know it's there. Sharing is caring. Let people know we exist. And yes, comment. For I get lonely in this little apartment sometimes. Now, before we get to the news and notes around LA sports, let's take a quick look at the scoreboard. Yesterday, Freddie Freeman, 4 for 5, scores twice, 2 RBIs, hits a double and a home run. Dodgers rally 11-9 over Chicago. They not only swept that series, they're on a 7-game winning streak, 8-game lead in the NL West. They have the top seed in the National League if the playoffs were to start today by a lead of 3.5 games over the Mets. And what the hell, let's even include the magic number, 71. There are no games, by the way, scheduled today for any Los Angeles team. Now, a little bit more on the Dodgers. They announced the substitutes and pitchers for the National League All-Star team. Clayton Kershaw's in. Tony Gonsolin's in. Definitely deserved. Here's a snub. Freddie Freeman. Now, frankly, I can't say I have too much of a problem with that. It's not that Freddie Freeman hasn't had a good year. It's because everybody who plays first base is supposed to hit. The competition is supposed to be intense because first base is usually the repository for power hitters who can't play defense. I like the guy, wish he made it, can't really complain. But I'll tell you somebody who does want to complain. That's LA Times columnist Dylan Hernandez, who got his widow feelings hurt when he asked if Freddie Freeman was a little annoyed over the snub. Freeman replies, "Come on, that's a terrible question." And then, of course, he compounded the matter by turning to his teammates in the clubhouse and allegedly calling Hernandez the worst reporter he's dealt with in 13 years in the major leagues. So Hernandez reports all of this and then also adds that maybe Andrew Freeman should have signed somebody a little bit more mentally stable for the playoffs. Dylan Hernandez screwed up. This is terrible, piss poor, low level, bottom feeding, Jim Acosta pseudo journalism. And he needs to be called out on it for a number of reasons. First of all, if Freddie Freeman is too emotionally unstable for a playoff team, tell that to the Atlanta Braves. Because after all, he too got that ring. That's one. Number two, I'm here to tell you as a former newspaper reporter, you're not supposed to insert yourself into any story. Your feelings as a reporter is not why people subscribe to the paper or the website, if you will. It's not why people turn on CNN or Fox News or MSNBC. This is not supposed to be the primary reason. The newsmaker matters. The news reporter does not. His feelings, Dylan Hernandez's feelings, is crap. I don't care what they are. I don't need to know what they are. But in his weekly column, what he could have done, he later talked in the same column about how Clayton Kershaw returning to the All-Star game, how Kershaw is toward the end of his career, and how Kershaw is starting to appreciate all the little things that he didn't necessarily appreciate when he was a younger man trying to become the best pitcher in the game. Quote, one of the big joys that I've had is see Clayton's growth as a person. That was from manager Dave Roberts. That is the story to explore. That is your top news. People adore Clayton Kershaw. They do not adore you, and they damn sure don't adore me. That is one of the cruxes of journalism. Clayton Kershaw is a damn good story to read about. That's why a lot of other reporters approached it from that angle. You approached it, sir, about it from your little feelings. Your case of getting butt hurt. Nobody cares. Nobody's spending good money on that. Clayton Kershaw, stone cold assassin, learning to love life. That's a story. But you had to feed your ego. I mean, I'll tell you something. Back when I was a reporter, I pissed off Pat Riley. I pissed off Mike Scioscia. I pissed off Jay Schrader. I almost pissed off Jim Everett and asked Jim Rome what happens when Jim Everett gets upset. Right? But I never wrote about it because that wasn't material. Your feelings cloud your judgment. That's the problem. Don't do it again. Two media outlets, by the way, and I'm switching topics, they reported that LeBron James and Russell Westbrook, they went to the Summer League games out in Las Vegas. Both sat courtside at opposite ends of the court. They didn't even acknowledge each other. Then, of course, they left. Westbrook left at halftime. LeBron leaves at the end of the third quarter. And the reporters who were at Las Vegas, maybe it means nothing. Maybe it means something. Maybe it means everything. Maybe I don't give a damn. I mean, we don't even know. Perhaps I just don't care. Maybe because of the fact that I'm a grown-ass man, I've begun to not care about a lot of things like that. That's the problem. I mean, we keep seeing feelings hyped up over actual results. We don't even know if Westbrook's going to be on the team. Ooh, they sat at the opposite ends of the court. They're not besties anymore. Who cares? Pau Gasol, by the way, is telling people that the Buss family may retire his jersey during the upcoming season. Shams Charania of The Athletic said it's going to happen, but he just doesn't know when. Got a question for you. I don't know. I'm just asking. Anyone else think retiring Pau Gasol's jersey is not really deserved? Think about it. 6 seasons in LA with 2 titles. He was never the number 1 option on the team. That was always Kobe. He spent, of all the players that have their numbers retired up in the rafters in Staples Center, Pau Gasol had the least amount of time with the Lakers. The only quote-unquote number 2 option that would have been listed, or number 3 option that had his number retired, was James Worthy. Pau Gasol didn't set any records in Los Angeles. Pau Gasol is not an all-time great like, say, Shaq, Kareem, Wilt Chamberlain. I can list many Lakers with as many titles as Pau Gasol. We're not retiring Robert Horry's jersey. We're not retiring Derek Fisher's jersey. There's tons. So I'm not necessarily sure Pau Gasol's jersey getting retired is a good idea. But you tell me what you think. Olympic silver medalist Kim Glass alleges she was attacked by a homeless man with a metal object over the weekend. She got a bruised eye, it's really nasty, in the can front, and a gash over the nose. No surgery needed. The alleged attacker, homeless, after he threw this metal object at Glass, allegedly, he was held down until the police arrived, but we don't even know if the dude was arrested. Keep up the good work, George Gascon. Keep up. You wonder why people have a recall petition. There's this guy who writes something called Bolt Beat, which is kind of a creepy title, but we'll put that aside. The guy for Bolt Beat is bothered that an NFL executive doesn't think Derwin James is a top 10 safety. Now, this is from an ESPN survey. They went to a bunch of GMs and they ranked safeties. Overall, James is ranked 4th. He's upset about that too, the columnist. The guy who said, the GM or exec that said James isn't top 10 called James injury prone. And the blogger thinks that's ridiculous to vote based on injury history. No, it isn't. It's perfectly appropriate. Look, case in point from a different sport, Anthony Davis. A healthy Anthony Davis is, without a doubt, a top 5 player in the NBA and arguably the league's best center. Injured Anthony Davis, Laker fans want to run the guy out of town. There's a big, big difference when you're injury prone. You can't produce results when you're wearing a cast. You can't produce results on crutches. The injuries do matter. I mean, seriously, if you get your feelings that hurt, and by the way, who gives a damn about the rankings, about individual positions? It's just fodder. If you're really that upset, you shouldn't be writing for Bolt Beat. You should be writing for Tiger Beat. It's a very strange time, considering the way teams are being covered. Turf Show Times. That is a blog that I have cited before as decent. They cover the Rams, right? They ran the following 2 headlines in the last 2 days. It's time to be worried about Jalen Ramsey. That was one day. The very next day, Jalen Ramsey is still the best corner in the world. Do you see how people have a real difficult time trusting journalists if that's what's going on? Could we have a little bit of consistency based on fact? Here's a fact. Here's a troubling fact. The Pac-12 conference loses potentially $200 million without USC and UCLA. Now, that's according to the former president of the Fox Sports Networks, all those regional ones that you used to see, which also, of course, ran the Pac-12 network. How are you going to replace $200 million? You're going to do it with UNLV and Fresno State? Tough call. They had El Tráfico over the weekend, by the way. I follow Galaxy Twitter. I follow some people on who like LAFC on Twitter. And I mentioned all the time, I'm a Galaxy supporter. Did you notice that not too many Galaxy supporters seem to be particularly pissed off over the loss to LAFC? Could it be that was the first time LAFC had beaten the Galaxy in 6 matches? It didn't occur to me until this morning. I don't know. You tell me. Now, if you enjoyed today's roundup, don't forget to like and subscribe to Faithful Angelenos. We are trying to build something here about LA sports. Thanks for watching. I'm James. We'll be back tomorrow. Faithful Angelenos is a Kian Corte El Queso production. Take care.